Welcome back to Double Tap, and today we are talking about Braille as a subject, Sean, you and I love to talk about, and I think we're pretty good at talking about it these days because we talk about it all the time, and I often talk about the education side of it, but I think also, the learning is the key, right? And how we learn is often a challenge because there are lots of different methods perhaps to learn, but it always seems to involve being in front of someone, and the challenge is how can a child, for example, on their own, learn on their own without someone with them.
Yes, it seems so often we talk about how important Braille is, and it always comes down to the education and the training and the learning and the teaching of Braille is key. And as you said, recently, in the past, we've seen those resources go down, but thankfully they are coming more and more now.
Well, with us today to talk more about this, and in particular a new product that is coming out. I love new toys. Andrew Flatres is here from Humanware. Good to have you with us, Andrew. How are you today?
It's good to be here. Thanks very much for inviting me. Thank you.
It's great to have you here because a great chance to talk about this. So this is a product from a company called ThinkerBell. It's called Annie. Tell us all about it.
Right, yeah. I mean, I also love new toys, and this actually came about probably around about 2017 initially. This company, ThinkerBell Labs, it was a startup company that came over to, I believe, the Bet Show at that point and presented what was Annie back then. And we loved the concept. We really did love the concept. And where it is today, and I'll go through what it is today, is fantastic. It's a great learning tool for someone who's learning Braille. It's designed to give preschool and primary school age children that head start in learning Braille. And Annie is a self-learning electronic Braille device that teaches reading, typing, vocabulary, spelling, and uncontracted and contracted Braille, most importantly in a fun game-like format. And that's really unique because, we know that teenagers, children today, they don't like to learn things unless they're fun, right? So this Annie product is fantastic, and it really gets you engaged in learning of Braille without realizing you're learning.
And that's the best bit about this, right? Because it's learning to use a product, which is cool, obviously, in itself. And kids love to learn new toys and new products and all of that stuff. But, when it comes to actually learning Braille, you have to make that fun. And, I have to be honest, Sean and I have both been trying out various methods. I think I'm better than he is, if I'm being brutally honest. Because
how dare you?
Well, no, look, I mean, come on. When it comes to learning the Braille, you've fallen behind.
Yeah,
yes,
no, absolutely true. I've learned grade 1 Braille about 1,000 times, yes, and never got any further. Absolutely.
But it's because of that aspect, right? It's not. It can be a little bit boring at times.
Well, yeah, exactly right. I mean, the first concept really is the pre-skills, the pre-Braille skills as well. So, you don't necessarily have to get a student on Annie just when they're learning Braille, maybe at the age of 5 or 6. You could actually use Annie for pre-Braille skills. And there are games such as the Whacker Braille or Whacker Key, a bit like the old Whack-A-Mole, really just to get the idea and the concept of Braille dots. And on Annie, there is 2 different sizes of Braille cells. There's the jumbo Braille, so there's 2 jumbo Braille cells, and then there are 6 traditional standard size Braille cells. So the idea behind this is that, the pre-Braille skills you'd start off with on the larger jumbo Braille, and then you transition over the period of time onto the normal Braille size spacing. So yeah, overall, fantastic device. I've had my children on it for hours.
Beta testers, I like it.
Exactly.
So can you give us a quick description of the actual design of this, how it looks?
Sure. So it's a small portable, well, say portable, it is powered, but it is a fairly small device, probably the size of, I guess, an kind of an iPad, but relatively thick. I don't know if you've had the Stratus, the Victorinox Stratus models.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a kind of that kind of size. On the top left, there's 2 large jumbo Braille cells. Then to the right of that, we have a speaker, and I'll put it on the camera because we've got this new video system you got going now, right?
Yeah.
So, so we have a speaker in the middle. So the audio is not text to speech either. So it's actual human voice. We then have the 6 Braille cells of normal spacing, a normal size. As we get towards the middle of the device, we then have our 6 Perkins style keyboard, and there we go. So talking. We then have a backspace and an enter key, and then we have a space bar, a left arrow, and a right arrow to navigate through our menu structures. And of course, you've just heard the voice there. We do have volume controls. We do have a head jack, so you don't disturb other children in class. And on this device, it includes Wi-Fi and Bluetooth. The reason why you'd use Bluetooth, and this is particularly fantastic for teachers and parents, in fact, is that you could track the progress of their learning. You're capturing all the analytics of how your students progressing. Are they struggling on certain contracted words? You can set different homework for the student, and all of that gets synchronized through this online system called Helios. So with Helios, it allows you to track and create fantastic graphs and pie charts for teachers to show the progression of their learning. And who doesn't like pie charts and graphs, right?
Oh, yeah.
So what is it about this that made you or Humanware recognize this as something special? Is it the software, or is it the hardware, or a combination of the two? Because it does sound like a sort of scaled down standard Braille display from what you described there with Braille cells and the Braille keys. So I'm just thinking, could this software be this teaching software side of it? Could this be used on normal Braille displays in the future? Is it something you may think about adding? A teaching mode, if you like.
Yeah, it's a very good point. And that was what really got me initially excited when we first saw them in 2017. This software that they use is called Helios that captures all this data as well. That got me really excited. But back then, they never had a full curriculum based on grade 2 or uncontracted Braille. So since then, they've really worked hard on that. So it's a combination of the two. And I think the most important part is the Jumbo Braille transition to the normal Braille spacing. Okay. I'm not a huge fan of Jumbo Braille. And I think there's a lot of people out there that say Jumbo Braille is not the right way to go. However, it does serve a need, and that's where that pre-skills, the pre-Braille skills, it's a bit like having an egg cup. You know, they have like the 12 or the 6 eggs, and trying to get the feel and the shape of where the dots are, and that's the main purpose of those Jumbo Braille. And then hopefully, then you're transitioning to the normal Braille spacing sooner rather than later. But the software inside, so there's kind of two pieces to the software. There's the software that's integrated into Annie, and then there's the software with the Helios, which synchronizes all the data. And that's what's, again, unique in its way. So it's an all-rounder. It's a great product. It's not a Braille display, though, just to confirm, because the Braille cells, you've got 6 cells, and it's purely just showing certain letters or words. And the reason behind 6 cells is because the biggest or the longest contracted word consists of 6 cells. Do you know what it is?
Oh, I don't.
Stephen does.
No, I don't. No.
Yes, he does. He's done all the training.
I can't remember off the top of my head. That was the reason why.
Yeah, I have no idea, but I'm sure if we ask GPT, it'll tell us. It will absolutely know the answer to that. Even Google will know in the old days. It's interesting you bring up the point about Jumbo Braille. There is a bit of a conversation in our community at the moment about what Braille choice should be. And I think that obviously the challenge at the moment is because the Braille display technology we have is fixed. The technology is fixed. So Braille displays are a fixed size. It's not something that's customizable. It's not like text on a screen that you can change to 56 point if you'd rather, or 128 point if you'd rather. And technology, if it was able to bring that about, would really, I guess, give the option, give the change, or give the option of change. I mean, so in a way, it could be a good thing for us to have more choice in that regard. But it's not possible yet, technically, is it?
No, I mean, traditionally, Braille is at that standard size Braille. So when you look at Braille labels on medicine bottles, etc., tablets, it's the standard size Braille. But yeah, you have a valid point there, Stephen, changing the size of Braille. But I think you'd have to really convince those that are high in the UCAF and the banner about that standard. Not me.
I want to ask you as well, because of course this is a product that's going to be available in the UK, but of course Humanware is available around the world. So, is this going to be made available in other parts of the world as well as the UK, into Canada, for example, US? You mentioned Poly, of course, which is the similar equivalent there.
Yeah, so Poly is the APH product, and that will be distributed in America. For Annie and the Humanwares link, we'll be distributing that in the UK and Ireland, New Zealand, Australia, and we do hope to go towards Canada, but that hasn't been agreed yet. And then, who knows next? But definitely, we are really pushing towards distributing Annie in across the globe.
Brilliant. Well, we wish you all the best for it, Andrew. Come back soon. Tell us more about what's happening at Humanware. It's always interesting and great to catch up with you.
Likewise. Thanks very much, guys.